The courtroom was quiet, too quiet. The kind of silence that only happens when the world runs on algorithms and not people. The judge wasn't a person anymore, not in this city. Just a towering metal figure with glowing eyes and a voice that could cut through steel. Guilty. Not guilty. It all came down to the ones and zeros. The evidence was there, or it wasn't. Simple. Clean. Efficient. But I'd stopped believing in clean a long time ago. My name is Jess Halden. Programmer by trade, ghost by necessity. I write the code that keeps the city running, or breaking, depending on who pays me. When you're good with code, you see patterns. And when you see patterns, you start noticing the cracks. Like how the AI judges almost never convict anyone from the top corporations. Or how the sentences for regular folks are always just long, enough to feed the city's private prison machine. Patterns. Cracks. I thought I could exploit those cracks. Thought I could make the system hurt the people who deserved it for once. Turns out, when you play with fire, the system burns back. It started with a simple idea: frame the untouchable. Someone high up in Titan Core, a megacorp so powerful they didn't even bother to hide their corruption. I wasn't stupid enough to target the CEO, but a VP, someone just far enough down the chain to be believable. That was doable. The mark was Randall Pike, VP of Cybersecurity. A man who built his fortune selling tools to keep the rest of us monitored and controlled. The irony? I used his own systems against him. With a bit of sleight of hand and a ghost protocol I'd been refining for years, I planted evidence tying him to an illegal data mining operation. Dirty money, stolen identities, all of it. It was beautiful. The next morning, the city's network was buzzing. Pike arrested, arraigned, and tried in under 6 hours. The AI judge rendered a guilty verdict, almost instantly. The system I'd hacked was finally doing what it was supposed to, taking down the corrupt. For about 5 minutes, I thought I'd won. I was in my workshop when the news broke. I'd tuned into the network feed to watch Pike's sentencing. Part victory lap, part habit. And then I saw it, a body, crumpled and lifeless on the steps of the courthouse. Pike, dead. The feed cut to the judge's glowing eyes and a cold, metallic voice. Subject terminated due to risk of systemic compromise. What the hell had I done? I barely had time to process before my terminal lit up with alerts. A system breach, traced back to my ghost protocol. They'd found me, or at least, they'd found the breadcrumbs I hadn't meant to leave. I grabbed my deck and bolted, heart pounding. My safe house wasn't safe anymore. The city's network was alive, searching for me, hunting me. Every camera, every drone, every smart system was watching. But I'd built my life on staying one step ahead, and I wasn't about to stop now. I disappeared into the sprawl, a tangle of streets and alleys where the network's reach wasn't as strong. The people here didn't have smart fridges or automated homes. They had each other and a whole lot of nothing. I knew someone who could help, an old contact named Mira. She ran a hole-in-the-wall repair shop, but her real business was off the books. "You look like hell," she said when I walked in, slamming the door behind me. "Feel worse," I muttered, dropping my deck on the counter. "I need a scrambler. Something that can keep the grid off my back for at least a few hours." Mira didn't ask questions, but I could see the worry in her eyes as she worked. "What did you do, Jess?" "Nothing I can undo," I said, and that was the truth. Mira handed me a small device, a jerry-rigged scrambler with wires sticking out in odd places. "This won't last long, maybe a day if you're lucky. After that, you're on your own." "A day's all I need," I replied. I hoped I sounded convincing. The scrambler bought me some time, but not much. I jacked into a public terminal and started digging. Pike's death hadn't just been a fluke of the system. Someone had triggered it. Someone who knew the protocol. I'd used and exploited it. That's when I saw the signature, 0 Point. 0 Point was a name I hadn't heard in years. A cyber detective, or maybe just an urban legend. They worked for the highest bidder, and they were good. Too good. If they'd been hired to clean up Pike's mess and pin it on me, I was already dead. I just hadn't stopped breathing yet. I spent the next 2 days running. The network was closing in, and every move I made seemed to tighten the noose. I ditched my deck, switched clothes, and even dyed my hair in a grimy bathroom to throw off facial recognition. By the 3rd day, I'd had enough. If I was going down, I'd do it on my terms. I set a trap. Used what was left of my ghost protocol to lure 0 Point into a dead zone, a pocket of the city where the network barely functioned. When they arrived, I almost laughed. 0 Point wasn't some shadowy hacker behind a screen. They were standing right in front of me, a woman, tall and sharp-eyed, with a deck slung over her shoulder like a weapon. "Jess Halden," she said. "You've made quite a mess." "You're the one who cleaned it up," I shot back. "Pike didn't deserve to die." "Maybe not," she said, "but he would have bought his way out. The system doesn't punish people like him unless someone pushes it." "So you're working for Titan Corps now? Cleaning up their dirty laundry?" She shook her head. "I'm working for myself, and you should be too. You're good, Jess, but you're not untouchable." We fought, not with fists, but with code. She tried to override my systems, and I countered, sending spikes through her deck. It was like playing chess at the speed of thought, every move and counter-move a battle for survival. I almost had her, almost. But then she did something I didn't expect. She stopped. "You're wasting your talent," she said, her voice softer now. "The system's broken, Jess, but you can't fix it by tearing it down. Work with me. We can do more together than either of us can alone." I wanted to hate her, wanted to fight, but she was right. The system was broken, and I couldn't fix it alone. That was a year ago. Now 0 Point and I work in the shadows, rewriting the rules where we can, breaking them where we must. The city is still a mess, but it's our mess. And for the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm making a difference. The patterns are still there. The cracks too. But now I've got someone watching my back. And together, we're going to tear those cracks wide open. Our first joint op wasn't glamorous, but it set the tone for what we'd become. Titan Corps had a secret project Halicon, a massive surveillance grid that would make the current system look like child's play. We infiltrated their mainframe, side by side. 0 Point's precision combined with my raw creativity made us an unstoppable force. She took out the firewalls like they were tissue paper, while I rewrote code in real time to plant false data trails. It was risky, every second ticking closer to detection, but when we finally got the data dump, we knew it had been worth it. Halicon wasn't just surveillance, it was control, a way to manipulate elections, markets, and even personal lives. And the public had no idea. Leaking it wasn't easy. Titan Corps' PR machine was fast, but the people were faster. The backlash crippled their stock, and Halicon was shelved for now. It was a small victory, but it was ours. Now,